Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Hi, I'm DKWILL, and this is DK. We'll talk about it. Okay, so I decided to wait to find out what the reaction would be from the launching of the XRP futures today, and it was about as lackluster as I expected to be. And that's been the going trend lately, is to get everybody built up to think something significant is going to happen, and then it happens, and it's really, just a dud. It might be a sparkler that fizzles out, but it's nothing of significance, and that's the case with this launch too. However, what I want to cover, besides covering the information that I found here about it, I also want to cover just a warning, to those who are considering taking advantage of the XRP futures. And this article here by Godfrey Benjamin was done today. You'll probably see this late on Monday or early on Tuesday or sometime Tuesday. And then whenever YouTube puts it in front of you, it could be Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I noticed they kind of put a lag time before my videos get any kind of coverage. But this article says CME Group to launch XRP futures today, implications for the XRP price. Well, we've already seen it launch. And just to take out some of the information here, it says today's planned launch of the CME XRP futures group is already drawing attention from investors and analysts, with XRP at the time of writing $2.22, seeing growing interest from institutional buyers. Many market participants believe this development could mark a new phase for the digital asset. And that's what I want to talk about, the institutional buyers that I believe have already always been there. And now they have enough XRP in their possession to do something like a derivatives futures type contract sell. And the key component of this derivatives type contract selling that they're doing, it's cash settled. So if you're a retail and you want to do it, it's going to be cash settled for you. However, the thing to remember is up here in the keynotes. They launched 2 cash settled XRP futures contract sizes. And let's say the ETF could help increase institutional exposure and liquidity. Market participants opine that the launch may influence the US. And then they speculate that the SEC is going to greenlight a spot XRP ETF. And that's all very interesting. But what I really want to bring out about these futures ETFs is right here. Let me get that right. These are cash settled futures, meaning there will be no physical delivery of the XRP coins at the end of the contract. It's like betting on a horse. You don't own the horse, you just want to bet who's going to win, place, or show. It's betting on a price action of the coin against the US dollar, I believe. It doesn't matter what it's against. It could be what you call it. I'll find that right over here. I can't believe I can't remember the name of that their coin. USDT. That's what it is. But it's not actually owning the coin. But see, if the institutions own the coin and they sell the futures contracts, and they can manipulate the price of the coin with the physical coins that they actually own. Now, you as an investor, you don't have any stake in what they own. The only stake you have is on the speculation on the price. And so I don't necessarily see it as a good way to invest in the crypto market. I see it as a trap to soak up more liquidity from retail investors. That's what I see it as. Institutions aren't dumb enough, in all frankness, to put a risk on something like that where they lose money or they lose money for their clients. So they don't want to lose money for their clients. So guess who's going to lose the money? Retail. Just another way to get the XRP out of your hand. And how so? Price action. If you bought in looking for something like what this says here the day before, right? These are futures contracts. Do you know what that means for demand for XRP? Aren't these cash settled futures contracts? The answer is yes to that. But then it says here, a huge volume is expected to flow in with an anticipated 14% surge by the end of the day. Buy more now. A parabolic surge is likely coming. Tomorrow will be massive. It was not massive. It was not massive. And that's the demoralizing part of it. Because if you came in expecting that 14% surge, and remember we saw 222 up here was the opening price. Well, you would have came in looking for it to go to at least $2.53. Well, did XRP go to $2.53? I see nothing close to $2.53. I had to do the weekly because I wanted to get the opening of today's action. And so right around here, it says 2:30. That was at 8:30 a.m. There's 2:30. I don't know when he wrote that piece, but the best I can see is I'm Central Standard Time, but we're gonna go with this right here, 8 a.m. If it's 8 a.m. my time, it's 9 a.m. on the East Coast and Chicago. But nonetheless, we can see it went from 2:30 to by the close of the day, it was about 2:37. Looks like 2:38. No, we're going to stick with 2:37. And so that was not what you would consider to be a parabolic, massive surge. Now, was it? Now, the volume did uptick. So the volume's going to come in handy for those who hang in there who actually own the coin, because that'll eventually run the price up. And I don't know the timeline of these contracts. I know they're cash settled contracts, and they do give the size of the contracts. It says the first one, micro, covers 2,500 tokens, and the larger contract covers 50,000 tokens. And the performance of that basically imaginary asset, because you never own the coins, it's completely a speculation on the price. And it's almost like a futures and betting on price of pork bellies and oil, and you really don't know what it's going to do. So I mean, that's if that's your baby, I mean, put a diaper on it and run with it. But it ain't mine. Mine is you keep your gorilla grip on your XRP. You buy it when it's low, and you just wait for it to get high. I think that's all I'm going to cover on this video. I'm DK Will. This is DK Will Talk About It, and I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.